Right now at noon, a railroad strike looming over the holidays. We're taking a closer look at the conversation between the White House and lawmakers. Plus, rocking around the resale shop, why more people are turning to consignment and thrift stores for their holiday shopping. And it is Giving Tuesday, and we're sharing the story of one junior high hockey team giving back to their community. Their inspiring story a little bit later. Well, good afternoon and thank you for joining us. I'm Hayden Balgavy here with meteorologist Corrales Ortiz, who is tracking some potential severe weather this afternoon for parts of the state.
Yeah,
Corrales?
That's right. We've been talking about this potential for severe weather for quite some time now over the last few days. I do have some good news though. Within our last check-in, we've actually seen a decreased chance in some of that severe weather potential for some, but not for everybody. Southeast Arkansas still not out of the clear just yet, but this is what we're seeing in terms of the severe storm outlook. Communities like Dumas, Monticello, Hamburg, Greenville, all the way towards the Mississippi Valley region, still underneath a medium to high risk for some strong to severe storms. Likely is seeing a tornado watch be placed within the next hour or so. But as you can see, the further west we head towards the state, the lower the risk we will be expecting. Damaging winds and the possibility for a few strong long track tornadoes is in the question for southeast Arkansas, but not for most of us. Hail up to a quarter size or larger is possible for that as well for later this afternoon and evening. Already tracking some showers popping up across southeast Arkansas, mainly showers, but this activity will be picking up within the next hour to 2 hours. Quiet here, just cloudy in the metro. It was a bit misty earlier, 63. We're continuing to warm up. We saw a warm front push through, so we're going to be warming up into the upper 60s. Pretty mild for this time of year. Of course, severe weather is on the table for today and the main weather story, so I'll have more details on what to expect in terms of the timeline of that severe weather coming up.
All right, Corrales, thank you. Remember, you can stay up to date on the latest weather and get breaking news as well as severe weather alerts by just downloading the THV 11 app. It is free in your app store. Well, now at noon, a federal judge continues to hear arguments in the high-profile trial over gender-affirming care for minors. The ACLU is leading the lawsuit to block Arkansas's ban on certain treatments. Now, the trial actually started in mid-October but was put on hold until this week. The state continued its defense yesterday, presenting a psychiatrist who has treated transgender youth. They picked back up this morning, and THV 11 is there, and we'll have more on what happened today. That'll be tonight at 5 and 6. For now, the law is still blocked, meaning doctors in the state can still give teens hormone treatments. Surgery is not provided until the age of 18, which is a standard medical practice. Also happening today, early voting for several runoff elections across the state. Early voting runs through Friday, but is not available on Saturday. However, it does pick up again next Monday. Now, Election Day for the runoffs is a week from today. Across our viewing area, several communities are voting on municipal races. THV 11 checked with every county clerk's office, and here's the full list of the 17 mayoral runoffs, including cities like Camden, Jacksonville, Lone Oak, Searcy, Sheridan, and Sherwood. Drew County is the only place voting on a sheriff's race. Now, runoffs are generally between the top two candidates after neither receives more than 50% of the vote. But in municipal races, a runoff is avoided when the runner exceeds 40% if no one else gets over 20% of the vote. A potential railroad strike set for early December could have a Grinch-like impact on the holiday season. Natalie Brand is in Washington, D.C. with what actions the White House and lawmakers are taking to possibly prevent that from happening.
President Biden is calling on Congress to act in order to prevent what he describes as a potentially crippling national rail shutdown.
Congress, I think, has to act to prevent it. It's not an easy call, but I think we have to do it. The economy is at risk.
The White House had helped negotiate a contract between rail companies and workers in September, but 4 of the 12 railroad unions have since voted it down. In a statement Monday night, the president said he wants Congress to pass legislation immediately to adopt the tentative agreement between railroad workers and operators without modifications or delay.
I would hope they'd all be able to get on board. We certainly can't afford to have the economy shut down with the rail strike right now.
The Railway Labor Act gives Congress the right to push back the strike deadline, extend the negotiating period, force the two sides to use an arbitrator, or enact legislation to adopt an agreement. The possible congressional action comes as the rail unions have said they're prepared to strike December 9th, just as the holiday season swings into full gear.
It'd be highly disruptive to the economy. Obviously, it would disrupt already very fragile supply chains, adding to shortages and a high inflation. And inflation, of course, is a big problem for American households.
Nearly 30% of all U.S. goods are shipped on railways. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said lawmakers would vote on a bill this week to impose an agreement. Now, according to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Congress has intervened 18 times in railway labor negotiations, each time in order to prevent a strike. In other news, the final Senate vote on the Respect for Marriage Act is set for this afternoon. Yesterday, senators reached an agreement to speed up passage of legislation to codify the right to gay and interracial marriage. Now, the vote is the result of months of bipartisan negotiation and puts the landmark bill one step closer to being signed into law. It would prevent same-sex couples from being excluded from Social Security, survivor benefits, the ability to sponsor a spouse for citizenship, and more. While the bill does not require all states to authorize same-sex marriages, it would require them to recognize such unions from other states. The Supreme Court is hearing arguments today about a case involving the Department of Homeland Security's guidelines for enforcing immigration law. Now, at issue is a dispute over a blocked Biden administration directive that paused deportations unless individuals had committed acts of terrorism, espionage, or egregious threats to public safety. The 2021 guidance updated a Trump-era policy that removed people who were in the country illegally regardless of criminal history. Republican-led states sued and won a court order that is meant to limit immigration officers deciding whom to deport. The holiday shopping season is officially underway, and while some people are scrolling to find deals online, others are heading to resale shops. Consignment and thrift stores in Central Arkansas say they are seeing a big increase in sales. THV 11's Brooke Buckner shows us how inflation could be behind it.
Between sorting clothes and helping customers, Children's Orchard owner Jade Moore stays busy.
Resale is on the rise. That's what we've been telling ourselves. That's what we've been saying. It is definitely something that we've seen an influx in.
Moore says there's a big difference in foot traffic this year.
We've seen a 17% increase in our resale just for one of our stores in particular.
Moore also owns Clothes Mentor and Plato's Closet in Little Rock and North Little Rock. Overall, she's seeing more people come in to sell their items too.
The pandemic, just being at home, I feel like kept people in their home, but it also let them see kind of what they have, and they're tired of it. But also inflation, absolutely.
She says October was a big month at Children's Orchard.
We were so busy, we had to press pause on our buy counter every single day, I feel like, for the month of October, because so many people were bringing excellent stuff in.
Over at Goodwill, Trent Wanstuhl says they have more shoppers but fewer donations. He says inflation could be a reason why.
People have less overall to give.
But customers keep loading up their carts.
Year over year, we've seen about a 12% increase in sales, which usually corresponds with customer traffic.
And he expects the trend to continue throughout the new year.
We are a nonprofit. What we do goes to serve our mission and our mission services. I think all of us, we can gather together this holiday season and just be top of mind to give more and give back to the community in which we serve.
In Little Rock, Brooke Buckner, THV 11 News.
Thank you, Brooke. The holiday shopping season means an influx of packages on your doorstep, which unfortunately means porch pirates tend to show up during this time of year. However, this holiday season, if they do, they will face a larger penalty. Just last year, state lawmakers made porch piracy a Class D felony, punishable up to 6 years in prison. Now, before then, porch pirates would steal packages thinking they'd only get a slap with just a simple fine. Law enforcement believes that this tougher charge will deter them before they even start.
I think people who have been stealing packages regularly for years, they probably knew that they were just facing a little misdemeanor, you know, and now it's a felony, and hopefully that can help them either go to jail for longer for it, and that'll get them to stop, or they'll stop because they don't want to be charged with a felony.
The best piece of protection, though, is video surveillance, because it allows law enforcement to possibly see the Porch Pirates' face and their cars in the background.